Kip Bradley with Moral Mayhem's Writerly Talk, where I talk about writing issues that amuse me for the entertainment and edification of the world. I like to keep my ego in check, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Mere mortals cannot comprehend the power cosmic. Pitiful beings, we require nothing from you. No love, worship, fear, or hate. Nothing. You are cogs in a machine whose function you cannot fathom, grease in wheels you cannot see, fuel for engines that encompass more than any possible human understanding.
Today I'm going to talk about literary gods and some of my observations about alien intelligence. I can't say anything matter-of-factly about aliens since, we've never met any. But we've met a lot of other life forms here on Earth. As an interesting point, we can't talk to most of them very well. So when I was on Facebook and I encountered this graphic, it was something right up my alley. I've thought about this more than necessary for anybody who isn't a science fiction and horror writer, which I am, so I've thought about it quite a lot. The key parts. That's why knowing and correctly pronouncing the true name is so important to the ritual. Imagine how impossible it would be to not go take a look if the circle of ants started chanting your name. And they're like, you can't leave because we drew a line of tiny crystals. Now you have to do us a favor. And you're like, let's just see where this goes. Yep, you got me. What's the favor? And usually the favor is like, kill this one ant for us or give me a pile of sugar. And you're like, okay. And you do because why not? It isn't hard for you, and boy, this is going to be a fucking story to tell. These fucking ants chanting your name and wanting a spoonful of sugar or whatever. And sometimes you get asked for things that you can't really do. One of them, she's like, I love this ant, but she won't pay attention to me, make me important to her. And you're like, how? So you just kill every ant in the colony except the two of them. Ta-da! Problem solved. And the first ant is like, horrified whisper, what have I done? So the person wasn't talking about ants. After all, if ants could talk for bowls of sugar and chant our names, they'd be a lot more like us, psychologically and mentally, than ants in fact are. They wouldn't really be ants. I also doubt that anyone would be merely curious if ants started chanting their name. Holy crap! At first I'd suspect it was, some sort of human trick. But if upon investigation it looked like ants were chanting my name, well, that isn't just a story you tell at the bar. It would be a life-changing moment for the human fucking species. It would be highly suggestive that we are not alone in the universe. Plus, where did the ants get my name? They have intelligence-gathering abilities? They speak English? Even great apes need to be painstakingly taught sign language. These ants learn to speak to me on their own? That's pants-weddingly terrifying if you stop to think about its implications. And if they can ask for stuff, do they deserve rights? Can they own property? To what extent should they be protected by human law? Should humans be subject to ant law? It's a cute joke and all, but it's not deep, and I loves me some deep, or at least not quite so shallow. I will say I'm glad that there aren't ants chanting my name and asking for stuff, though. I don't need my world upended that much. However, sometimes humans just do things to ants. While we've got a pretty good handle on what they're doing, from their point of view, we are inscrutable sky monsters. Sometimes we come from who knows where, scoop them up and put them in glass bowls or poison them en masse. Or machines bigger than anything they can see tear up their homes, toss them into another machine, and move the whole ruined colony somewhere else, which must feel like, the Earth being grabbed by a giant hand and hurled into the darkness of space. They have no way of imagining the totality of our existences. What we want, desire, think is beyond them. Do ants dream of justice or love or mathematics? I'm going to give a hard no to all of that. We also operate on a physical scale that is beyond their ability to calculate. Ants can't see much of us at all. To them, we're just disembodied massive objects. And that's what Cthulhu is, right? It has universes of reasoning beyond our comprehension. It also operates on a metaphysical level, a psychic and magical level, beyond human abilities to understand. We only see a small portion of Cthulhu, while its mind and awareness, even in a death-like sleep, can fill the whole world. We can't figure out Cthulhu once any more than ants can chant our name. It has mental faculties that allow it to think thoughts that we are psychologically, intellectually, and biologically unable to follow. That's some cosmic horror, right? So why would it come if summoned? We cannot know. I also think the texts of Lovecraft are of no help. Why anyone would use the example of the insane, blubbering cultists and mad wizards that populate his stories as proof of anything is beyond my understanding. Some mentally deranged sorcerer is not a reliable narrator. One can view it another way too. Perhaps the gods are just as limited as we are. Some of the Lovecraftian gods are described as idiots, after all. Sorcerers aren't talking to Azathoth or Cthulhu or Shub-Niggurath when they invoke them in a ritual. They're pushing a boulder off a cliff. The summons could be simply a reaction over which even the gods have no control. We do this and they appear. Admitting that would be pretty weird and stupid of us to want such a thing, but maybe we're not that bright either. There is no reason to believe that the gods have free will or agency. Maybe they're as trapped by the greater forces of existence as we are. And this isn't as weird as it sounds to ears trained in a predominantly Christian culture. One of the specific attributes of the two big monotheistic religions is absolute agency, total free will of their god. However, the idea that even the gods are trapped by the world is thought to be true in some forms of Hinduism and Buddhism. It is also true in Hellenic, Celtic, and Scandinavian paganism, where even the gods bow to fate or doom or weird or whatever you're going to call it. It makes for interesting narrative possibilities for Lovecraftian-style gods, huh? As a horror writer, I resist the urge to anthropomorphize gods too much. The sheer scale of intelligence, perception, and wisdom which people rhetorically attribute to their gods is staggering. Words like omniscient and omnipresent are tossed around. They know everything and they see everything. Wow. Then, in the same literature, we write about the gods as being not too smart. Gods are always being tricked or they don't know this or that, despite their supernatural wisdom and perception. Whether it's Odin's inability to suss out Ragnarok or Jehovah's ignorance about what Adam and Eve were doing with the fruit of knowledge, gods usually don't seem to be too smart. It's almost like humans were writing stories or something. But having noticed it, and noticed that ants can't think as we think, they can't understand what we want, even simple stuff like what foods we like, I think it's possible from there to write gods with truly alien minds. The trick is just to have things happen. Rather than get caught up in trying to make some kind of sense out of the literary divine, acknowledge they're just plot devices. To the extent that gods notice us at all is for reasons that not even their worshippers can understand. This is similar in intent to Arthur C. Clarke's sufficiently advanced technology argument. The point wasn't that a sufficiently advanced technology would be mistaken for magic, but that the theoretical basis for very advanced science would be unknowable to the less technologically sophisticated party. The same would be true of any sufficiently advanced intelligence. We would no more be able to think their thoughts than an ant can do calculus. So, in writing literary gods, sense is not required. Indeed, sense can get in the way. It can diminish the divine beings, bring them down to our level. While that's appropriate for some stories, it isn't for many others, my own work for example. And if you want to get a look at how I might do such things, remember, there are links to my works below. Otherwise, the sheer scale of perception and information processing ability of the gods make them as unknowable to us as we are to ants. How could our tiny meat brains possibly encompass the cosmic, much less the eternal? However, we writers can choose to write about cosmic mystery and do so convincingly because our audience is other humans. It's one of the reasons why people still read Lovecraft's sexist, racist books, right? It's enough for your alien space gods to be unknowable and for the author to transmit that sense of unknowability to the audience. And that'll be it for this edition of Writerly Talk. I'm Kip Bradley, and thanks for joining me. As ever, I hope you liked this video and subscribe with notifications. I've already pimped my books, but it would be cool if you guys started reading them, right? It'd be cool for me anyway. I've also got a Patreon in case you want to help me make more videos like this one. Links below. See you next time!